This is Tim Campbell from Visceral Decay, Wartoke, and Fairhaven, and you're experiencing Poppitt's Corner.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Poppitt's Corner. Very special. Today I'm joined, obviously, in, I would say, LA area?
It's Pico Rivera.
Pico. With the gang here, Fueled by Fire. Guys, how you doing? Thanks so much for having me. Appreciate it. And
What's up?
how you guys been, man?
Good.
Been all right.
Hanging out?
Yeah, here, literally.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming down here.
Yeah, no, but not a problem, man. Not a problem. Happy to do it. So it's going to be a very fun episode. Obviously, we're here to promote the couple newest singles that you guys had put out.
Yeah, you could say we're promoting or just having a conversation, hanging out,
well,
you know?
You know how we do
shit.
here.
If people want to check it out, check it out.
That's
Yeah.
right. So
But yeah, you're right. We did put something new out recently, but we'll get to that.
sure, we'll get to it.
Yeah,
But
man.
before we even get started, how you guys been as far as you guys aren't playing a lot of shows recently, are you?
No, when was the last show we played? It was at the Whiskey.
Yeah, with Evil Dead.
Was it July?
No, August.
August.
Yeah,
Yeah.
August of last year was the last show we played.
That was it.
Yeah,
Right?
that was
We
it,
played one
pretty
at the
much.
beginning of 2020, which
Right.
literally at the beginning of 2020, it was January.
Yeah.
Not nothing till July of 2020.
August.
Was it 2021 already?
Wait. July?
December.
August. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I forgot what year it was. Was it?
Yeah, 2021. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So
August. Last August.
nothing. Yeah, that was it so far.
As far as shows, yeah.
Well, so have you been writing just in the meantime? Is that why we're getting the singles nowadays?
Well, no. I mean, I had those songs written in 2019. I think I wrote those in the end of 2018, and we started recording those in 2019, like the end, I think. And then that's when world went to shit and the next year, and we couldn't finish it. So, yeah, that's what put a pause. The plan was to get it out in 2020 and do shows, and we had Brutal Assault booked, and we were gonna do a tour around that, but yeah, circumstances.
Plans change.
Was this planned to be just a full length album or just the singles itself, and then or were you just planning on just having something new for Brutal Assault?
Pretty much, we've been on hiatus for 8 years, and we're just like, all right, let's do something. Let's put something out, just to let people know that we're active, and hear something new. Nothing like a full length. We just wanted to put an EP to be active, and that turned out to take longer than obviously expected. And now we're here, fucking 2 years later. 2022, just getting it out now.
So how has obviously Chris's departure? Now you have and correct me if I'm wrong. The gentleman's name,
Jonathan.
Jonathan here. I'm just kind of curious what he brings to the table that Chris didn't, or is it relatively the same kind of dynamic to the band in terms of professional or personality wise and musically wise, or?
I mean, he's been around. We've known him forever.
Yeah,
Rubio?
we've known him for
Jonathan Rubio?
for a while. He played a few shows with us and his old band Armory. But no, totally different styles, dude. Totally different styles. Chris is a shredder, He's obviously a fucking badass. He's but his style of writing is totally different than what Rubio. His background is more old school hardcore punk. Like, he grew up on that shit because of his dad. Like, grew up in that whole 80s fucking hardcore scene. So that's, like, a lot of his background. So a lot more aggressive shit, like old punk shit, like more thrashier. So, like, his style fits very well with what we've been doing,
Yeah, and it was the same circle of friends, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it didn't take very long to adjust to how he played and all that, because there's differences.
Right.
But, I mean, honestly, it's as long as it's good, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, did he approach like his solo parts obviously a little bit differently? But how did he approach it in terms of the differences between him and Chris?
I think we just told him to do him, like do your own style.
Yeah, and his style is a lot more like like feeling. Like he I feel like he has a lot more feeling in his solos. Like they're more like they're not just shredding the whole time.
More
you know?
melodic or whatnot. Or,
Yeah, like just a little more. I wouldn't say more thought out, but just like
Just
I don't
more,
know.
This the word it's more feeling. I guess
Yeah.
you could say it's like when you hear someone hit one note, it's like they could either hit the note or they can make you feel the fucking note they're hitting.
Yeah,
you know,
listen
so-
to like the Freebird solo or some
Yeah.
shit, and he's just going "Wah, wah," on that fucking one note
Yeah,
for
and-
like so long, and you could just be like, you feel
Yeah.
that shit, right?
So there's
And-
differences in guitar playing and all that. And
Yeah.
honestly, like we know so many great guitar players. Everyone has their own thing that's good, bad, or whatever. And in this band, we just kind of want the guitar player to do what they do. Like
Yeah.
we don't want them to be like the last guy or anything like that. It's like
Right.
just do you. Let's mesh this together and let's just fucking jam.
Yeah, we knew he's good, and like
Yeah.
he learns obviously fast, and we knew he had the skills, you know, and
In the studio too. I mean, he's done a lot of recording, so it's like that right there alone is like, dude, he's got it. You know?
yeah, yeah.
So in terms of let me get over to Rick over here and just like kiss your ass just for a minute here. So when I was hearing these particular singles and whatnot, the first thing that came to mind was I think Rick has now become one of the best like thrash metal vocalists in our times. So
Thanks, Tanner. Thanks.
When I first heard it, I was just like, holy shit.
You know, it's funny because I thought about that, and we recorded them out here at the studio. At the time, everybody probably felt the same, like, because it was in the middle of 2020 and the whole pandemic, and a lot of that was a lot of anger that I was just there. And honestly, after we did, 2 sessions for 4 songs? I just drained myself completely. I was just like, so when you hear that, that's real fucking emotion coming out. I'm just like fucking angry, just at everything, and it kind of just works out that way to where it's authentic, I guess. So-
Yeah, because we started recording it 2019, and we didn't. When the pandemic happened, obviously nobody saw each other, nobody kicked it, nobody fucking. So that was like the first time when we got here to finish it off. That was like the first time we seen each other in like a couple months and shit.
Yeah.
because of the fucking lockdown.
I mean,
yeah.
we were zooming like everybody else was,
Yeah,
hanging
yeah.
out. I'm like, so we get together, and it's kind of like, fuck, like what's gonna happen? Like, it fucking sucks nowadays. Like
Yeah.
everything's fucked, and a lot of the lyrics too. I was just like, this
lot
is
of
perfect. Just get this fucking bullshit. Like I got everything out.
a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah.
Now, how did you particularly approach your cadences and whatnot with the music? Because obviously, you guys had never heard him sing these songs before. So
No.
when obviously Carlos, I believe you wrote most of the music for this. So when you would send him the tracks, were they just pieces, or was it just the full song? And then it's just like, hey, do something over this.
Oh man, Carlos had the whole thing. Like he already had everything. And
Yeah.
He's like, do you guys want to fix anything? Edit? Like, how do you? And I automatically was like, these are perfect already. Let's.
Yeah, I would
They're
just
good to go.
record the song on GarageBand and shoot them the songs. If they had any suggestions or whatever, I would, let them suggest some stuff. But mostly the songs are pretty much as is.
Yeah.
And,
The lyrics did take forever because I'm never certain about shit. I always change my mind. I always have trouble like placing things different ways. So I did have a bunch of themes and lyrics that I wanted to get to, and that's when I'm like, I needed help from them. I know Carlos like helped me place all the syllables and stuff in the right place, and I'm just like, all right, this is how I'm gonna do that. This is how I'm gonna do that because I'm like, I know this will fit. I need to fit it right, So.
So let me ask you this: even with during the pandemic, how have you obviously held up your voice just so well? Are you like eating more properly? So it's like I'm just asking how your voice has held up so
man.
well within 15 years of doing this, almost.
I think the extended breaks probably keep it more fresh, I guess. But when it comes down to like,
8 years, man.
yeah,
8 years of a break.
yeah. So I mean,
We're kicking it.
there's nothing special about it. I always thought like, just fucking do it. I don't sing, so all of my stuff comes from my throat and from the gut. So I'm just like, getting it out.
But even your delivery is really kind of haunting on this new stuff because I
Thanks.
felt again this is what you said earlier is probably why it sounds as angry as it does. But I feel this is your guys' most kind of aggressive material so far.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I mean, you've had 3 albums and now these singles. So I'm curious what's going to come next as far as like a full length fucking record. Is it going to be just all just straightforward aggression the whole way, or do you want to do more dynamical stuff with this? Because now that you've played in several other projects, you know, you've obviously gained some sort of influence from those styles. So would you apply it
Definitely.
into?
I have. I mean, I personally have gotten a lot of influence as far as my drumming, playing with Excel and shit. Like it's totally different from Fuel by Fire. So my drumming has changed a little bit, but as far as the music writing, I think we're always want to keep it aggressive. So
Yeah, and we all have different types of music that we enjoy, that we like to mesh together.
yeah,
I mean, I've always liked the classic 80s thrash straight up, and classic metal or whatever, but like Anthony will want to bring up like some grindcore, and then Carlos some hardcore, or
Yeah.
just different genres, and just like, we don't think of it that way, but it's just like, okay, I want to riff like this, and it'll sound like whatever the
yeah.
genre we like.
Like I don't know what you listen to mostly, but you listen to a lot of hip hop, and that that helps him with his lyric writing. You know,
Yeah, man.
definitely.
But it also probably helps him out with how he delivers it as well, because that, depending on what kind of tune in hip hop in general, it's always very sporadic and very kind of just like
it's
groovy
like,
and whatnot too. Which you do have the groove in your.
it's
in
like a
your
whole.
style.
Think of it as another instrument that you're hearing, the vocals. So I for this one in particular, for these 4 songs, I'm like, I want this part to have a high and a low right after it, like where it's like it's taking you on a ride. So I'm like, and the way it came out was really accidental because I just winged some of it. I'm just like, this is just how it's gonna be. And then I listened back to it, I'm like, oh, okay. And if I would have fucked with it even more, it probably would have came out like, if I would have overthought it, it would have came out wrong. So I just kind of threw it out there, and it stuck.
So Anthony, the grindcore aspect, does it come from when you were kind of jamming with what is it, Sodomizing the Dead and whatnot, or is it like, where does that kind of influence come for you? What are some of the bands that are like, I don't know, that you're gelling with and bringing that style into Fueled by Fire and whatnot?
Yeah, I played in Sodomizing the Dead, and since then I just gained that influential into my bass playing, just like off of those nasty E string heavy hitting sounds that I hear in Napalm. I'm not really like grindcore fan where I know a bunch of bands, but so I'm just like influenced by Napalm a lot, but in their bass playing and rhythms or whatnot, I like to try to throw that in here and there just to add some difference, but always heavy and easy listening and easy playing, but as heavy as it can get.
Grindcore is easy listening. Did you hear that, folks?
Well, dude, like even
If you have the ear,
the death metal too, right? The Cannibal Corpse,
Yeah.
and I mean, I'm a fan, but I'm not that big of a fan. You know, where it comes into my influences as much as them, because they're way more into it. I'm just like, I like it, but I'm just coming up with stuff like that's a lot different for me.
Like for me, when I hear the music, I can literally piece every sound in the song and listen to that like in my head. So when I'm hearing the bass, that's what I hear. It's just like easy listening, easy playing for me.
It's interesting because obviously with Bloodshed especially, I mean, again, that was I think the first track I heard from this new batch of songs and
Right.
whatnot.
Yeah, that's the first single.
And again, when I heard Rick's voice, I was like, this is fucking... He's like, it's like almost he's reached another like plateau that I didn't think that
I mean,
he could
a lot
get
of
to, you know?
there's a lot of people that have messaged me and
I think this
praised
is your
Rick's
best
vocals.
performance.
Thank
Now, I'm
you,
not
man.
trying to kiss your
Thank
ass because
you.
you're here. I
Yeah.
just wanted to
No,
at least mention it.
Did
to
a great
ya.
job on it. A lot of people have told me that they like his vocals on this, and
I appreciate that, man, because I mean, I've always was like, no, just kind of settle. You know, this one I wanted to do some different things, but at the same time, I kind of just did it and just left it because we did 2 sessions and that was it. And I remember I think I dubbed each song, and I'm just kind
Yeah.
of like, all right, one of these is going to be good, or we can mesh them together. Whatever is going to sound best. And my main worry was, I guess I forgot what Big C called it, the performance, or I don't know. I was just focused on like getting it done and getting it out with that aggression out. Like that's that.
So when you were putting the songs together and putting the basic tracks down, how do you typically track for Fuel by Fire? So you bring in the music and do you do the rhythm guitars or play along with?
No, it's just mostly rhythms. Like I'll just sit there, write some riffs on the guitar, and just whatever I like, I'll record it on my phone or whatever. But this time, trying a different approach. I did it on GarageBand. I have an electric kit at my house, so I would just write the riffs and just kind of just go off of it, sit there for hours, whatever. And for some reason, I was on a roll, dude. Like during this time, I just really wanted it. We had started talking about like getting shit together, getting back like at it. So I was like, all right, I was just motivated to fucking write. So yeah, I just wrote out everything on GarageBand and recorded the tracks on the with the drums and shit, and just kind of sent it to them and see what they thought. And
Also, I was actually using recording on my phone. I forgot what program I used, but
yeah,
I was just like recording the vocals on top of what he sent me, and I'd be like, oh, that's good, not great. Let me try this. Oh, that's good, not great. Let me try this. So I got to do that a lot before going into the studio. So not that everything was done even after doing it on my phone, but I just went in and I'm just like, let's just knock it out.
yeah. This was the first time that we've ever done anything like as far as writing like this, because we're old school. Before we got in here, we were in a garage for 15 plus years, so we would jam all the time in the garage, and like really that's how we did it. That's how we wrote. We were jamming and jamming and jamming.
So now that you have these two different aspects of writing, which do you actually prefer?
I mean,
and
now,
what has its advantages and disadvantages,
they both have their disadvantages and advantages. I think it all depends if when we all get together and we're writing in a room, sometimes it works, sometimes it just doesn't. Sometimes not all of us are here. Like as far as writing, sometimes we have different shit on our mind or whatever it is. Like so that affects the writing process. So I think we're just at a different time in our lives to where getting in a room and doing it that way only is the best way. Like, I think we got to adapt now that we're all grown-ups, we have families, we live in different areas of LA, and we get together once, maybe twice a week. So like we can't just get in a room and do it like that anymore. So we've had to adapt, and so I don't know, they have their pros and their cons, man. So
now, with this in mind, with obviously the materials been written and whatnot, do you approach Marco at this point, or is this beforehand where Marco kind of approached you? And I'm just kind of curious how Marco and M Theory comes into play here.
Damn, I don't even remember if I approached. I don't remember if I approached him and told him, "Hey, we're doing this," or if he approached us.
What I remember is that he wanted to work with us a long time ago.
Yeah, he's
from a long time ago. He's always helped us out as far as like, hey, do you guys need anything? Let me know.
Yeah, we've played shows with him. He, in Vegas and stuff like that. We've always been cool with Marco and kept in contact here and there for things.
I just don't remember if you contacted him or if he
I don't remember
contacted
because he put out the Blade Killer stuff. So I don't remember if it was hey, we can contact Marco, he'd be interested. I think it was that way. I think I just hit him up and let him know that what we were doing, and he would see if he was interested. And he was interested. He obviously knows us from a lot of years. And
now typically what is it that he kind of offers you that other labels haven't in the past? And you guys have worked with big time labels and putting your material out there, and then obviously you've worked with putting it out yourself. So what kind of label is Marco in terms of where that fits in with the big time label versus just doing it yourself?
It's more straightforward. Like, you get this, we get this. You keep all your rights and publishing and all that, and you guys record it. You guys do all that, and he pretty much just puts it out and promotes, whatever he does, and he does pressing and all that, and gets it to distros and and all that. So
It's a more comfortable way to do it because there's no pressure. He's literally like, just send me the tracks, and then that's it. Like, he'll handle all the other stuff, like the pressings and all that stuff that
Right.
we really don't want to do. So it's like, all right,
Right.
it's a perfect match. And he doesn't, cross those lines, because there's labels that'll just like tell you like, this is no good. Like, you need to do this, you need to do that,
Right.
and that sucks. So this is more just straightforward, like Carlos said.
yeah, more straightforward contract. I think it was like a single page contract.
Mhm.
Like, yeah,
Just
no bullshit.
one album deal, 2 album, whatever.
Yeah,
is.
it was just one for the EP, and if we want to like work with them again, we'll do a whole different thing or what, a whole different contract. So we just have the contract for this release.
So was this always intended to be a split release in terms of releasing part 1 and part 2, or was that just done later on just to keep the band relevant in a time when nobody was really playing shows and
I think it was kind of like, I think the idea came in later on. Like, it wasn't always supposed to be that way, but when we got the artwork, they sent us 2 different color backgrounds, and we're just like, oh, why don't we try doing 2 different 7-inches? Marco was all about it because it kind of spread out every release, which kind of made it longer, and like, it wasn't just here's 4 songs and listen to the 4 songs, like, and everybody just kind of forgets,
Right. Well, it certainly has kept the band more relevant because of doing it that way, and it's almost sustained. You guys haven't been around in quite a while. Obviously, it's been
8 years.
Yeah. So, this is now the first thing that people are going to hear too. So,
Yeah.
How did you end up choosing what was side A and side B for these releases? Why Bloodshed for the first single?
That was funny because it wasn't supposed to be Bloodshed. Like, our choice was for this the first single to be Disrupt, because that was the first song that we wrote and from it and like finished. And I thought it was more of a catchier song. But Marco and Carlos Cruz like, yo, this one's not gonna be the single. Like, this one's dope. This one's more catchy. So he suggested it, and Marco suggested it, and we're like, well, if they think that, well, let's just try it out. So that's pretty much, they suggested to let you that song should be the single. So we're like, all right,
Yeah, and
let's roll with it.
we liked all the songs, so it's like, we
It didn't-
just thought
yeah,
Disrupt
really.
was going to be the better song as the first single, but
Yeah.
I mean, Carlos Cruz was like, no, this is just fucking, like, he kept playing it over and over when we went to go hang out with him once.
Yeah.
He's like, you have to fucking release this now. I'm like,
Like, this
Oh,
one's the
shit.
single. He thought that this was a better single. So yeah, we just rolled with it. I mean, there was really no preference. Like, I think we just wanted to get it out, man. Like,
yeah.
And with this in mind too, you release. So you obviously it's been 8 years since the last record, and I know you had to kind of put more minutes on Trapped in Perdition on the record. It's a little. I'm not saying it's a little bloated, but it's kind of a little bloated in terms of the riffing style. So
well, yeah. When I go back to it and listen to it, I kind of wish we never had to do that. Like, I wish we just kind of did what we did at the first, like, when we first wrote it. Didn't have to go back and rewrite everything and add shit and add like 20 solos on this one fucking song. You know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, trust me, I wish it wasn't that way either.
Well, my question becomes: was that a conscious decision to just kind of, not? I would say tone it back in terms of let's just write a great, solid song, and it doesn't matter how many riffs are in it, rather than overcompensate for 20 different fucking riffs.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we've always been a band that likes the more in-your-face, straightforward, no bullshit type thing. Like, we would go up there and just kind of play, and we've done the go up there with the sick ass intro thing, and I don't know, I like going up there and just kind of fucking getting up there and playing and just no bullshit, So I think that's how we write our music, and we like to write our music. It's
Now let me ask the rhythm section this: how do you guys kind of lock it onto each other in terms of playing style? Like, where does when you have a riff and whatnot, Anthony, where do you kind of like to fit in and just fill in the bass parts and whatnot, with your note choices, and just, do you like to just do what the guitars are doing all the time, or do you like to do variations to kind of bring up that specific piece? How are you in terms of bass playing?
Yeah, if it's not my riff, obviously I learn it and play it, and eventually I'll add what I think sounds cool, or I'll play it differently, or just try to make it sound noticeable, other than the guitar playing itself. So I try to make it stand out, but the same, if that makes any sense. So I just try to, give it a little gallop or an extra whatever or whatnot, just to throw in my own style to it or whatever.
Well, right, but do you like to obviously give yourself more of an identity when it comes to just insinuating everything and having people hear the bass just being very prominent in terms of, I guess, just your note choices and whatnot, or do you like to just follow the riff?
No, I'll follow them. I mean, it's what the song is, and I'll add my own into it too, but not so much, because it's thrash metal. I'm not trying to throw in the whole Harris style. I'll give it a little flavor of it too, but I just keep it direct, and just I want my playing to stand out more than what the notes are.
And with this in mind too, Rick, now that they have their you have a nice ground level in terms of bass and drums. Now, what do you like to insinuate with their already established sound? You know what I mean?
I mean, with me, I kind of just go with whatever the riff is. I don't like adding stuff or doing anything. I just kind of let the rhythm flow, and I just play. Honestly, I don't want to overdo anything. I don't want to overthink anything. I don't want to, add stuff that doesn't need to be there, and just kind of just go with it, always.
It's interesting that with this new kind of era of the band's career and whatnot, it seems like these singles have gotten a lot more attention than,
Yeah, I think people's attention spans are a lot shorter. People tend to listen to that one song and we're like, okay, cool. That's the thing. Like, a lot of people ask us, are you writing an album? Are you writing an album? Like, me personally, like, yeah, we've talked about it. We're writing an album, and we've gotten in here. We have a couple new songs or whatever, but it's kind of weird to be like, yeah, we're just going to put out another album. Like, I see a lot of things are changing as far as, like, putting music out. Like, a lot of people are just doing EPs, putting out singles, putting this out. Because, like I said, people are just, like, wanting to see some shit on Spotify and play that one song. And I don't know if people are really listening to albums like they have before,
How would that get, I guess, the vinyl market would pretty much just be 7 inches then all the time then, if that was the case, right?
I guess that's true.
I mean, in the 90s, it was nothing but singles, I remember. I remember you'd go to the record stores, it's fucking single. So, I mean, to me, it's more about writing the right song and just doing the right song in general, opposed to let's create the perfect album, right now, I mean. So it's like, let's just one step, this is a step forward is the song, the next one's the next song, and that's that. So
it's interesting when bands do this. It's I thought it was just in the pop market. Now it's actually in the metal realm, the metal world.
As far as what?
The singles.
Oh, the singles.
Yeah, usually we're just so diehards as far as our like records go. We want a full length record. I like having a full length record.
I do. I mean, I personally do. But I'm talking about people in general now.
Yeah.
Like, it's different, dude. It's different, especially like the newer generation. Like, are they really growing up on vinyl? Like we kind of did. I mean, we didn't even grow up on vinyl. We just were like, oh shit, this is tight. Like, let's collect it.
We grew up on the CD world almost.
Right, yeah. Exactly. And I collected CD.
And digital.
I collected
at the
a
same
shitload of CD. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know people are buying a lot more vinyl still, but is it just because it's cool to have, or is it because there's 8 songs on that fucking thing? Like,
Because it's a vinyl.
right? Like, is it because it's a collector's item that it's cool to have that? I mean, that's why I like it.
Thanks.
But is it because they want to listen to all fucking 8-10 songs on there?
It's a good point. I don't know the answer.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think things are different now, as far as putting music out. So I mean, I'm sure we'll keep doing it and just put the fucking album out. But
Yeah, the goal is to write a full length next.
yeah, that's the goal,
So-
to put a full length out. So.
But as far as like right now, what we're looking at, it's like let's just get these songs out, which was the EP.
Who knows? Maybe we'll talk about it after this and be like, no, let's just do another fucking 4-song EP and put it out that way.
True.
Like,
And then
Like,
what
that
you could
could be
do
cool,
too,
too.
is put it out at the end of the year as just your full length. 'cause
right,
It's already,
right. There you go. And then next year we'll do another fucking 4 and like
That's the
just
thing.
just kind of keep that cycle going. You know, like that works.
that could
too.
work, dude.
That works too, dude.
keeps
Do
it
two
relevant.
two
Right.
EPs and then the full length of just both the EPs and just
Exactly.
re-record it or punch it up.
Yeah, and it just kind of keeps you relevant and new and things coming out. Like you're not waiting fucking 2 years for a full length. You know, you get 4 songs here, you get 4 songs here, 2 songs here, whatever.
And
I think that'll work.
The best part is we could do whatever the fuck we want.
Exactly.
That's the main part where like we don't have to deliver an album if we don't want to.
Right. Exactly.
I wonder
So-
how that would change contracts for bands too, though. If it was just
Mm-hmm.
a singles market, you know.
Who knows? It wouldn't. Would it be worth it for the record company to just do that? I don't think so. So
Oh, no, because they have to print out the product and whatnot. That would be really fucking expensive to do,
Right.
that all the time, and unless they're just doing digital. But metalheads we like our physical media,
yeah.
so I can't see that happening. But maybe I can. Maybe I'll be proven wrong as far as that goes.
I mean, personally, I haven't bought any kind of record or anything as far as metal in a long time, dude. Like, I just kind of like lost that drive to like collect shit. Like even at the metal merchants market for Born for Burning, I was there yesterday and I was walking through the fucking thing with our friend Andrew, and I was just like, I have no desire to like sit there and look through every single fucking crate, you know? Like I was just like, damn, there's just no desire, dude. Like it's kind of weird.
I probably think that comes from like you value other things more now.
Probably. But yeah, that was kind of a weird thing because I mean, my old self would fucking sit there and look through that shit for hours, dude. You know, like looking for that rare fucking record. But not anymore, man.
Interesting. Now, what do you guys have in terms of your live performance, and how are you gonna like? Because I know you have it in a couple months here and whatnot, but how are you guys going to like give a fresh show? And in terms of like, yeah, things happen here, folks. But in terms of like, do you guys want to do a new kind of stage performance and whatnot? Do you want to incorporate anything new nowadays, or just come
Maybe
out
some
kind of
fire.
guns
We got
blazing?
some choreograph.
Fire.
We're working on some choreographs and fucking
Some pyro.
pyrotechnics.
yeah, man,
Nah.
some fireworks in the background. Nah, man, we just go up there and play always. I mean, to have a big production, you would have to like, I don't know, especially where you're at on the bill and all that. Is it worth it sometimes? You know, it just depends. I mean, it would be cool to have a fucking full rack of fucking Marshalls or whatever,
Yeah.
but you know, we just do. The main thing is the music and the vibe. You know, just so that's all we really care about: the performance, the vibe, and that's it.
Yeah.
Fuck everything else.
Yeah.
Smoke and mirrors.
Now, why
Speaking
Mark?
of smoke.
There you go. Right? Why Mark Riddick for the album cover? You know,
Oh man,
you
Mark's
guys,
the shit, dude. Mark's the
Badass.
shit. That's why.
Brutal.
Straight up.
because you
No, I
guys have
mean-
used a lot of different artists. Do you guys just want to just try new? You know, rather than settle with just one particular artist, do you like to just dabble and see
Yeah.
which one works the best? And,
Yeah, and I got the I've seen him do some other dope ass artwork with like logos, because we did it's just the FBF logo, it's not our full name. I've seen him do some dope shit with just logos like that, so that's kind of what inspired. I was like, yo, I sent them a picture of this. It's a clothing brand called Rebel 8, and he did some like artwork like that with the it's just an 8, but it did dope fucking artwork. So I sent them the picture and I was like, yo, what if we do something like that with the FBF logo? They were all about it, and I sent it to him and he sent us what he had, and yeah, we just went with it.
we sent you a couple different versions and whatnot too, right?
Saying hi to.
Yeah, it's funny. I think we started from scratch and just told him like, just I I think the only idea that I gave him was like I think an Aztec type of thing.
Oh
but
yeah,
that
we
didn't-
tried. Yeah, we tried like an Aztec.
That didn't really work out and
No.
didn't have anything to do with anything.
Imagine if it did.
Right.
It wouldn't
I
have made
mean,
sense.
it wouldn't have made sense whatsoever. Probably would have ended up looking cool, but it didn't, necessarily. It didn't go with anything. It
Yeah.
was just a thing. So I think we told him after the sketch, we were just like, just do
What year
something
was
else,
that?
do your own thing.
It was before pandemic, right?
And then, yeah, he came out with what
During-
we got. It was cool.
Now, what is next for Fuel by Fire in terms of the full? Like you said, you're gonna be obviously doing, you're writing right now. You have a couple songs out and whatnot. But what in terms of just, you guys had said earlier you guys want to do a full length record. Could you see that just being just all your singles for this year and then just put it all together, or is it going to be just all new material? Or
It's going to be all new material.
Yeah, all new material.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
we've tried that before where
Yeah.
we put the demo on the full length. We did that with the first, and we put like the four demo songs on the first album. And we're like, it makes no sense. So that's why we did a whole full length with new. So no, that's not the plan.
So let's discuss. Obviously, in terms of touring and whatnot, how would you guys like to promote this in terms of playing more and more live shows or promoting in general? Because promoting bands has kind of changed a lot too, just in the past 10 or so years.
Right. We always want to be a live band. It's just things with pandemic, COVID, kind of been weird, especially in LA, like the whole vax card thing, and we just kind of been letting the world fucking do its thing, because we had Brutal Assault, for that has already rescheduled a few times, and we're on it for this year, but I don't. Our plan is to cut it because we don't know how travel is out there.
Yeah, we don't want to do anything until everything's 100% back to normal. And it just seems like things keep, changing as, time goes on. And it's just like, fuck all that. I mean, we did that show at the Whiskey and we got there and they're like, everyone's got to be wearing a mask. I'm like, what? I'm like, how the fuck are they going to, it's just weird. And I'm like, do I have to wear a mask on stage? Like, how's that going to work?
Right.
So I was just kind of just like, man, this is still weird. And I don't know. Wanted to get through all of that. Like we did that show, and I was like, it was a cool show, but it still felt really weird. So we're just gonna wait till everything's good, and then after that, I mean, we talked about doing like one-off shows, wherever here in the U.S. and maybe doing like a week or two in like Europe or whatever. So festival touring and stuff. So you reach the most amount of people at like the shortest amount of time. And there's still a lot of promoters out there that really support us. So that's the cool part where it's like, hey, we're ready to go back out there. They're like, okay, let's see what we can do for you. We can get all you fucking festivals going on. So we're lucky like that. So
Do you prefer festivals or the kind of like local shows more? Or is it all the same to you?
it's all the same to me. I don't know about them.
I like the shows. It's more personal, more like friendly. It's not so big. It's not so long, all day type of thing. Like we're at a fucking festival all day. Gotta wait. Like you're not playing that day. And you're just there. Like so. I personally like the shows more. Yeah, the festival experience is fucking dope and badass. Like I'm not saying it sucks or anything, but I'd rather do one-off, like smaller shows or whatever, and touring like that. But whatever.
Right?
Yeah, man.
Whatever.
In terms of your stage shows with bigger venue sizes compared to smaller sizes, how do you approach it in terms of being a front man and commanding the stage?
It just depends on the vibe. So once you start, like the first song is gonna set the tone for everything. After that, you want everybody to get involved as far as like that vibe. You want that everyone to just fucking go crazy, right? So like I said, to me, it's the same thing because the only difference is I could maybe see a few more people in the crowd compared to if there's a giant like whatever. We played like an arena once, and it was just like I can't see anybody in the crowd like whatsoever. Like I literally the barricade, I saw maybe 2 people's faces, but like it was packed. But compared to like a club show, you could see the first couple rows, you could see, you know, in the middle. So that's the only difference, but I approach it the same, you know.
Yeah, approach every show the same, you know. You put your all into that shit for sure.
Where do you see the most loyal fans for Fuel by Fire in general, though? What kind of country do you see?
Country in particular? Fuck.
We've never been, but Mexico is fucking... Dude, we have a lot of people from Mexico that hit us up a lot.
We
For
played
years,
Mexico together,
for
though.
years.
I mean, like
that doesn't count.
Mexico. I mean, like Mexico City or like,
Somewhere far.
yeah,
Somewhere far.
Yeah. I think Europe, I mean, we have the German flag up here for a reason. I mean,
Europe's always been our home for years.
yeah,
The
We've-
support there, it's always been great.
yeah.
like to the
Like no other.
maximum amount that they
Yeah.
could support a band, they've done it. Like,
But I mean, think about it. We've toured out there more than we've have out here in
Ever.
the U.S.
We did
Who's-
US once.
Yeah, we only did a full U.S. tour once in 2008, you know, with MOD, and we've done fucking full-on tours in Europe like 5 or 6
Months.
times, you know. So that's a difference. Like that's our fan base out in here in the U.S. has been a little rocky because of that. Like we haven't gotten out there.
Well, and a lot of people didn't even know you had a third album until
Right,
like
Yeah.
right.
I forgot about that.
That was weird because I mean, you promote it as best you can and whatnot, and some people even they were like, "You guys had a second album?" We're like, "Fuck,
Yeah, dude.
We didn't even know you had another singer.
yeah." They were
Right.
like, "This is a different
Right.
singer." I'm like, "Yeah, yeah."
Right.
So this is pretty trippy, man. It just you can't really go by like what a few people say because it's not that's not exactly what's going on. But
We're as underground as it gets.
yeah,
Hell yeah.
in terms of the next kind of album cover, who would you guys like to use that you haven't yet?
Man, I don't know. I don't even know any artists' names other, you know.
I don't
than-
think we ride like that. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like everyone's using so and so, and
right.
we want to use them too. Or, I don't know. I think we just find whatever is in our interest of what that person's writing and of their previous arts.
And I haven't paid attention, like, what artists are still doing things and who's using this artist and who's using that artist. Like, I haven't really paid attention, honestly. Like,
I don't think a lot of people have in the last couple of years, just because everyone's been in their own world.
Right, right.
So I don't think you're an anomaly here.
And it's funny because I stay pretty relevant with like newer bands and today's music. Like I haven't listened to a lot of like the old school thrash stuff in a long time. I usually try and listen to like newer bands that are coming out or whatever. But for some reason, like I haven't really paid attention to their artwork and seen who their artist was and shit like that. Like artists, I don't know. I just really haven't stayed on top of that.
Well, that is your-
every album.
Right.
That's why I just like to use the same artist every album, so I don't have to like go fishing for.
Like Haunt.
Yeah, it makes it fun though.
Haunt
Well, then-
uses
but-
the same artist.
but
like,
then you-
for
but then-
everything. My bad.
But then you get it like as your image that way too. You know. It's all-
True.
It's almost like you put that in the artist's hands to give you that image.
Right, and that's what I noticed. Like that band Haunt, like they have their style, their image, and their artwork. It all looks like, oh, you know, that's Haunt, you know, which is cool.
And he's more old school, obviously. Dude, that guy's gonna
Yeah.
put out like 12 million albums. You know?
Dude, that dude puts out a lot of records.
Well, that's all he does. Which God bless him. I wish
Right.
that takes some
Yeah,
you know,
man.
some skill to do with making your living just off of music would be a dream, obviously. But
Yeah,
that he certainly has paid his dues and whatnot.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
struggles probably to do it, but he's very prolific in terms of. Trevor's very prolific in terms of just
yeah,
putting out record after fucking record, like
Right.
2 a year, like
yeah.
every 6 months.
He's on
man.
it, man. He's on it.
Another
We're
thing,
not on it.
too, though. Yeah, like he just said, we're not on it. It's like we don't think about the artwork till the stuff is done, the music is done. So
Yeah,
And
we
we give
really
the artist the lyrics, and then we let him do whatever he comes up with.
yeah.
Yeah, so-
we give art, like, what do you call it? Art artist
artistic freedom.
artistic
Yeah.
freedom to like whoever like comes through and works with us. You know, like we're not trying to like we want this, and this because we've tried that and it never works out.
Yeah.
Like
With the first
with the first album, like back then, you're like we wanted this, and this, and it just never fucking
fool
comes
wasn't
out that
down.
way. You know,
He wasn't down.
He started to say, what did he say? He's like, see, Pantera, they were posers. We're like, where's this conversation going, bro?
Because we had a fair fight.
He's like, not a fair fight. We're like, what? This is what we want. He's like, yeah, but still. I'm like, no, he said the
I
Pantera
remember
thing
that.
because we're like, we want some guy hitting another guy. He's like, well, see, Pantera, no, they did that. And you see, Pantera, they used to be posers. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, what? So it was a hassle doing that. And we're just like, now we're just like, just do whatever. If the guy's right, he'll be right. So
yeah. If we
At
like
the
it, we
end,
like it. We
choose
don't. We
anyways,
don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the end.
At the end of the day, that's super important to being in a band, man. You kind of have to have somebody that thinks like that.
Right. Right.
Like the artwork, the relationships with those artists,
Right.
not just playing. You know, because I talk to so many bands, and most of them are like this, where they just want to play music, and I'm like, well, what about the other aspect? Because it is the music business. So if you don't have the business aspect to to your music,
yeah. I hate all that shit.
I know I do too, but it's a necessary evil.
It is, and it sucks.
it just depends on the band. So like we honestly don't like it, don't care for it, and it's just like
Right.
we just want to make our part. And if we happen to sell 1 million records, great. But if we don't, great. Like it's all good. Like we're doing this because we love it.
Yeah.
that's the whole point of it.
Exactly.
So with the stuff that we don't like to do, that people are like, well, that's the stuff you have to move forward. I'm like, do we? I'm like,
Well, you don't have to do anything, but
Yeah,
in terms
right.
of, I just always find that those aspects fun.
yeah, sure, but
Yeah. If you think they're fun.
yeah. But
It's just like how you guys like writing music,
Right.
and that's fun,
Right.
It's important. I'm just saying it's important to have both of these, and most bands don't have both for some reason.
Yeah,
No.
we definitely don't. We definitely don't. It's
But you guys do at the same time because you have outside people helping you to
Right.
to compensate for that.
right, right. That's why we do need like a manager and a booker and a marketing fucking
I was gonna say, because
person.
who do you
Crew,
delegate
we don't
that
have a street
within
crew.
these four guys here? Who does what?
We all do different things. Like
Yeah.
Whoever
I-
feels like it.
yeah.
Just raise your hand.
Yeah, whoever's
much.
down.
Whoever feels
step
like
up
it.
or whatever.
No,
Like-
yeah, we all control everything as far as like our emails and all that stuff. So when something comes up, when it's business wise, I know Carlos will read it, Anthony will read it. Like, it just depends who wants to respond to it. Like, we'll talk amongst each other. Like, so do you guys want to do something with this or not? We agree. I'll write something up real quick and send it to them. Like, so it's more of like whatever we all agree on.
yeah,
We've always been
pretty
like
much.
that.
Yeah.
Majority vote on everything.
Like I hate doing written interviews. I hate doing written interviews.
Oh, you don't like doing essays?
No,
Fucking
so
sucks.
so Rick does like all of that shit.
Yeah.
like, pretty much. I hate doing all that shit, dude.
I just like doing this because I'm lazy.
And like
This is a way more better representation of a band.
Imagine if we had to
Doing
write all this shit. Fuck that.
Could you imagine that?
Someone's all
dude,
typing all
fuck
fast.
that. I would have fucking said nah, dude.
But there are people though that
Sorry, Tanner, we're not down.
I would never make you guys do that because I fucking hated doing it. But there is also the other side of the coin too, where there's artists that still think that what we do here on the podcast is I write out my questions before, and I don't do that.
Yeah, I was
just have
wondering
I
that.
have a
and
fucking
I didn't,
conversation,
I
right?
didn't see anything. So
I thought that earlier too. I was like, you must have studied on the way over here or something.
No, I've just known you guys forever, and it's just
Yeah.
I'm a fan at the
Yeah,
end of the day. So, it helps to be like that. But the overall, I'm just pulling the curtain back for I guess both aspects. But I typically just don't like to write anything beforehand, just to kind of just and let it like free flow.
Yeah, be
free
natural.
flow. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So
Yeah, it sounds more easy listening this way too.
right,
Yeah, man.
right.
plus all of our fuck ups. It's just like recording a record. You leave the fuck ups in, and it is what it is.
True that.
True.
People coughing and people, doing whatever.
Right,
the
right.
dog, the
Oh yeah, my
it's
dog's
awesome.
here.
So
For sure.
My buddy Jack.
I think
Come say what's up.
podcasts have become essentially like not the new rock stars, but a lot more. There's a lot more people listening to podcasts. Like I love podcasts more than anything.
Oh, yeah, I
especially
listen to
music
podcasts all the time.
podcasts. So
It's interesting, man. That's the main thing is like you always wonder, like, especially someone that can articulate something, like very well. They're just like, you get captivated by what they're saying. You're just like, wow, I didn't know that before. Now I know this. This is really cool. I don't know. I think the same thing. So it's really, I listen to a lot of podcasts too. So
I just like learning every day. It's just fun to learn.
what podcasts do you listen to?
Well, so like I'll listen to like the classic metal show stuff, like Eddie Trunk. I like the musical.
Eddie Trunk, huh?
Yeah, I like
You're
all
Eddie
that
Trunk
stuff.
fan, huh? No.
No, I mean, yes and no, yes and no. Yeah, there's a point that I get kind of irritated with how he presents himself.
Yeah.
So
I think a lot of people do.
right. I also will go back and listen to this show too to just visit an old friend and whatnot. It's just fun for me to do that. And learn.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do listen to this as well, and it helps to get better just from listening to how you used to be and how you've kind of grown. I'm sure you do that with your music.
Oh, definitely.
Go back and listen, like, oh, I don't play it like that anymore.
Right. I have.
What was I thinking then?
Recently,
I
I've
was
done
better
that.
than before.
it's one of those things that I heard. I forgot where I heard this, but someone said, listen to that 18-year-old self of yours, because that motherfucker, did some big things. So you should always revisit that mindset. And if it comes through a song, that's great, because you could listen to that song, you're like, fuck, what the fuck was I thinking back then? I was like, yeah, I could take over the fucking world. That's what I was thinking. Like,
Yep.
you didn't give a fuck about anything else. That was the thing. So when you do come back
Exactly.
and you write, you're like, this is everything right now. Fucking,
It's true, man. But I get the same with podcasting. And podcasting has kind of not taken over music for me, but I just enjoy the podcasting world a little bit more than just listening to music. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Long drive, I'll put on a podcast.
Me too. Like for work, I drive for work, so that that's all I do is listen to podcasts, dude, all day. I don't listen
give
to
me
music
one.
at all.
Give me one that you like to
I listen
check
to a
out.
lot of Joe Rogan. I'll listen to Joey Diaz. A lot of comedy shit. Bill Burr. Fucking
yeah, a lot
I'll
of the
listen to
comedy shit I listen to too.
Yeah, Dr. Green Thumb's podcast I like. What else? There's another one that I listen to. Oh, Adam Carolla, of course, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck, I've stuck with Adam Carolla since
fucking
day one,
2005
dude.
and shit,
Since day one,
2007.
man. Like I always go back to Adam Carolla. 'Cause-
And I listen to a lot of like political commentary too,
okay.
like Jimmy Dore and whatnot. So I like that kind of stuff. I'm on like the Rumble kick, because I like going on Rumble and going on seeing whose podcasts and kind
Yeah,
of pop up there. But
for sure. for
again, I
sure.
don't talk politics on the show, and I'm not going to. But I'm
Yeah.
saying I enjoy listening to those kind of commentaries.
Yeah, same.
Because
Yeah.
I don't trust the mainstream media. So
Neither do
You
I.
know what's funny is that we listen to different, like you said, politics. We leave that out of the music, kind of, because it's weird. Because even if you hear a song called "What's the Mangled Truth," it's about government fucking lying, like just people in power lying.
Yeah.
But we never, amongst ourselves, really discuss like politics, because it's just like it's
think-
all bullshit.
Yeah, I think we all just feel the same, just because we see what the fuck is going on around us. So, like, we all agree pretty much on all that. A lot
sure,
of the
and we're not
shit,
going to
you
get
know?
into it. But I'm saying
No.
that's part of my the whole podcasting world for me. So, yeah, it's just interesting to see what's going to transpire after this.
Right.
Are podcasts going to become the new rock stars, or have they become?
I
At this
think
point,
so, because there's a lot of people that do podcasts, man, or are starting podcasts and
I think the main thing about that is content output. So these dudes are making like 5 episodes a week, getting how many hits per episode. We have
Right.
to come up. We write songs. How long does that take to get it out? How long does that take? Even if we tried to compete in that realm of writing music like that, we're fucking with the musket, and they're with their fucking, what is it, like
cannon,
AK-47 and shit. So. It's weird that way, because as a band, we could probably start a podcast and get a lot more hits with that through the music, which doesn't even make sense if you think about it.
well, it's
Right.
all about staying relevant. That's
Yeah.
the whole thing. That's why the single market is like that, staying relevant.
right.
Yeah,
Right.
but I'm just saying, content. If you're throwing out stuff and you're interesting, like the music is interesting, right? That's why you listen to it. If you're putting out conversation that's captivating or whatever, or great opinions constantly, 5 a week, episodes, you're already you're way fucking up there, you know?
But that's your opinion.
Yeah.
Who thinks it's great?
It's true too.
Not
It's all.
everybody
It's
thinks your
all.
opinion's great.
You know, it's all kind of not biased, but it's all. Everybody has their
It's
own.
definitely bias. It's all about what you want to fucking talk about, right?
Yeah.
It's not about what anybody else wants to talk about. So it's your podcast. You're going to talk about what you want to talk about.
Yeah.
Kind of like music. You write what you want to write. I don't write for anybody, dude. Like, I don't write my music for nobody. I write it for myself and for us. First and foremost. Like, that's what I got into writing music for, is because I like it, you know?
Yeah, I
The
can't even-
plus is that people like it and support it and like what you do. That's the plus. You
I
know?
can't even imagine trying to write, thinking what they want, because who is they,
Exactly.
Is it like one person that told you like, oh, you do your vocals like this, you should do them like this? It's like, why would I listen to anything like that, So it's just kind of like we do whatever we want to do because we have to do it that way.
Can you imagine knowing what you know now back then when you recorded like Spread the Fire and whatnot, and just like how that would have changed drastically just from the knowledge?
I don't know if it would have been better or worse. I mean, because like I said, that fucking 18-year-old did some big shit. We just didn't give a fuck at the time. We're like, we're just releasing this and we don't give a fuck.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't know if we would have overthought it and been like, no, like, what if we do this instead? It sounds too modern. Like, I don't know.
Right.
We would have just did it.
Another point that you made last time that I do want to touch upon with all of us here is, do you remember when we talked about the classic albums not being made today? Like what today's classic albums would be in like 30 years?
Oh, you mean the albums that are coming out now, are they going to be classics in 30 years?
Yeah.
And I'm like, there should have been many. They're never going to be anymore, ever. I don't think, personally. There's not going to be a fucking album that's going to be a classic album anymore. Think about it.
Why not?
Because you had to have like mainstream, like you have to have airplay, like real airplay where no one has a choice. Now they have YouTube. There's hundreds of bands throwing stuff out.
Guess that makes sense.
In order for it to be like a classic album, it has to be like, put in a weird way, like jammed down your throat. Like,
Yeah, classic album. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
I was thinking of like classic songs. Like, I think that's a little bit different.
'Cause I
than
was telling
full-length
him-
albums.
I was telling him, like, there's been bands of our generation that put out albums that were as great as like a Megadeth album, like as far as musically. Now, in the big picture, like it's gonna be a fucking massive, like cult, like fucking masterpiece later, 30 years from now. There's none, and I'm just like, that's just the way it is.
I think there's
That's
one.
just due to sales.
Do you think anybody has done that in the last 30
Yes.
years? Who?
I think the last Power Trip record for me was
Exactly.
So,
I was gonna say.
but that got so much attention though too. So that's probably one
It
of the
did.
last. Again, the attention that it got, but it also held up.
Right.
It wasn't just like this
Right.
bullshit fucking. Like when media hypes up stuff,
Yeah.
typically it sucks for me.
Right.
But this one actually was like there's a general consensus with all of us that no, this is a great record because for one, I look for great songs. So there's the great songs already, and then the riffs and the heaviness. So that band encompassed all that. It's kind of like what you
Yeah.
guys had in like 2007, 2008 with Spread the Fire. It was like that's I consider that album a classic because that's the one that kind of kickstarted that whole movement for a lot of people,
And when you told me that, I'm like, really? Like, okay.
Trust me.
Yeah. Well, I've heard it enough to like, okay, it's
yeah,
true, but
you're not the only one that have said
yeah.
that.
So I'm like, cool, but I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking of it as something different, where it's like a fucking
Well, you're
a
married to it,
mainstream
dude.
album.
Right.
True. Okay.
I'm thinking of like it's gonna be fucking 40, 50 years, 60 years. Like this is the album. Like
Well, no, there's no records that'll sell like that in
that's
hard rock
that's
and
what
metal.
I'm saying.
Right.
Like there have been, but there's not gonna be any more. That's the main point on that.
There could have been.
In terms of underground, I think there will be a lot in terms of the underground thing because I think everything starts in the underground anyways.
Sure.
Definitely.
know,
Definitely.
so I think all of us bands have at least one quote unquote classic record to people.
Yeah.
Now, might not be to the general consensus, but to certain people that know that band, that's the album that's classic to them.
That makes sense. Yeah, because I can listen to
And it
an
creates
underground
nostalgia
band.
though too, man. How much does nostalgia play into being a classic too?
Right.
That's what makes it a classic.
I think so too.
And the rehearing of it.
Yeah.
Never ends.
and the timelessness of it too, man. I mean, you got to think in terms of how the records are recorded or nowadays compared to then. Totally different.
Different. Yeah. Hell yeah. Big time.
So since technology's changed, that plays a part in what's kind of going to go on for the future years to come. I mean, I could see you guys, like people bringing their grandkids to see Fuel by Fire or something like that.
That would be funny.
Well, they kind of already done that.
Yeah, I remember
in Europe,
yeah.
dude. Like you see, like families and shit in the fucking crowd. Like their kids are on their shoulders, like all fucking vest and fucking patches and shit. Like you see that shit in Europe, like big time. Like it'll be like their dad, then their son, and then their son's son, like in the fucking crowd at Keep It True. Like because that's what they grew up on out there. Like straight up old school 80s heavy metal and shit.
Oh, I see. I'm talking just like at like a Fuel by Fire show. I could see that happening.
Yeah, it has.
But for festivals and whatnot, I'm wondering how much that's going to change for the world as well in terms of having classic band. I mean, once the classic bands go, who knows who are going to take their place? The
Right.
media hasn't really created the next generation, and it's up to quote unquote the media to do that.
Right.
They've kind of relied on old bands.
It's true, man.
Yeah.
And I think people still rely on older bands. Like, look at the show that we're playing in March. Like, Evil Dead's headlining it. Which no hate on Evil Dead or anything.
No
but
disrespect.
no disrespect or anything. I love Evil Dead and we know the guys. But personally, I think it would have been dope just with our generation of bands, and I think we would have pulled a great crowd. But yeah, I think people do rely on the older generation a little too much still.
Little by little, I mean, they're gonna go away as far as like retiring and whatnot. I mean,
Or dying.
yeah,
True. A little
Yeah.
dark.
I mean,
It's true though. Hell yeah.
it's true. But I mean, you still see bands like fucking Rolling Stones at like 80 years old, fucking still playing. You're like, well, how long is Metallica gonna play for? Like, let's just see. It's more of one of those things that we'll have to wait and see. Let's just see what happens.
I'm
Right.
interested to see it. I'm interested in just either being a part of just like making sure that we have a next generation, or just seeing what the fuck is going to happen to
Right.
the next generation.
Right.
True.
I mean, these bands are still doing it though. Like Evil Dead just put out a new record. Violence is putting out a new record. Did it come out yet or?
Exodus 2.
Exodus 2. Fucking, I mean, these guys are still doing it. Just because Slayer's gone doesn't mean these guys are fucking gone.
No, well, Overkill puts out one like every 6 months. It seems too. Testament, like they're
yeah.
consistent with
Death
their
Angel
their
just
stuff.
put one out too.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, these fuckers are fucking still at it, man. They're still fucking going, like the Rolling Stones and shit.
Yeah, I can picture them still fucking doing that shit till they're fucking 80.
The last Cannibal Corpse album, I was blown away by how good it was.
Oh, I haven't checked it.
Oh my
I checked
God.
out a couple songs actually.
Yeah, I
and it
checked
was
out a few
fucking
songs, too.
heavy.
I was
Heavy
like,
as fuck.
Yeah.
I can't believe that that George still sounds that good at 50 years old playing death metal. That means that band.
Well, didn't he put out his own single record recently too?
Yes,
I haven't
he
heard
did.
it, but have you heard it?
I have not heard it yet. I'm sure it's just it'll be like what Cannibal Corpse is. I can't imagine him doing like a fucking love ballad or something.
Imagine.
But I just couldn't believe how good his voice sounds
Yeah.
at 50.
Damn.
I'm never surprised about that stuff, honestly. Like, it just depends on the actual like vocalist or artist in general. Just it depends on them. But these guys are just fucking cut from a different cloth sometimes.
Hell yeah,
They're
dude. I
pros.
mean, these motherfuckers are straight up road warriors
Yeah.
every year. Like this fool's up there wielding his fucking hair all day.
I mean,
fucking singing that shit
there's
every
a-
day. Like these fools too hard.
yeah.
Cannibal Corpse. So I'm sure like he's good. Like,
And then like vocal performance,
Yeah.
like there's little tricks you can do that I've heard of, where like you'll have what's that machine that Rutan told me about?
the fucking vaporizer, the face vaporizer.
It's a humidifier.
Oh yeah, humidifier.
He's like, I was fucking, my throat was done. I couldn't speak whatsoever on tour. he did that thing. He said, which he told me about in the studio. And he's like, I did that for like an hour and gave my performance. He's like, they'll just find a way. Like
It works.
These guys are just. I'm just saying.
I mean,
like,
you used it for
I used it.
for Trapped in Period, but I have one at home and I used it for
Yeah.
my vocals and it fucking works, dude.
Yeah, for real. Like
Hell
it,
yeah.
it helped. I was sick. I told you I was really fucking sick for the Trapped in Perdition recording. That thing helped out a lot, and it's little things like that where you're just like, well, these guys, they know what to do. They've been on the road so much.
Yeah.
They keep their vocals just
Well, there's some truth to that and some not so truth to that. There are some vocalists that can't cut it anymore that are that age.
Dawkins.
like, yeah.
Don Dawkins.
Yes, yeah, no, yes, but I'm saying in the death metal camp too,
Yeah.
because we can go apples to apples here.
Apples to apples.
Like who?
Corpse Grinder?
I don't know. How can you put a bad like vocal on a death metal vocal?
Ask Chris Barnes.
I haven't heard his vocals.
Honestly,
I've never listened to.
But
a
I'm just
6
saying,
Feet
let's
Under
go
record.
apples to apples with Corpse Grinder and Chris Barnes.
You mean he
Who's
really?
a more dominant vocalist?
Oh,
To
for
me, there's no
sure.
contest of it.
Yeah, for sure.
You're talking just generally the vocal, like his deteriorated and Corpse Grinders didn't.
Yes.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Depends
maybe
who takes
maybe
care
he
of
just
their
didn't
voice,
give a fuck.
man.
Yeah, maybe he just didn't give a fuck.
Maybe he just didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Maybe
death
he just
metal.
didn't give a fuck. It's like,
Just
fuck
kicked
it.
it.
I'm
Just
Chris
kicked it
Barnes.
and just
I
smoke
don't need
weed all day. He's cool.
So that would go with obviously any genre of music. You know, I just can't believe that people are playing death metal in their fucking 50s.
Yeah, it's intense as fuck.
That's intense
Yeah.
music to be playing. Like,
Yeah, dude.
How Eric
Obituary-
Rutan can play that
Obituary is
shit?
fucking tearing it up, dude. Still.
Yeah, man. Like I said, it doesn't surprise me though. For some reason, I picture these dudes like 70 still doing that shit.
That'd be amazing.
That'll be a trip.
Can you
to watch?
imagine?
Like,
I could see it. I don't know why.
So would Corpse
but I
Grinder
do.
still be?
fucking head
At
spinning,
set-
head spin.
Would he have-
next
this
thing,
much bigger?
70 years old.
Would he have hair?
No hair. Sick.
Again,
Oh, by the way, I use the same humidifier as Corpse Grinder
That's
in the
fucking
studio.
awesome, dude.
And he was telling me about it. I'm like,
Use the
really?
same
The
one.
exact same one? He's all, exact same one. Exact same one?
That's true. That's true. You did have your face when
Yeah.
Corpse Ranger had his face.
Yeah, that was hilarious. And it wasn't even ours.
Speaking of Rutan, he's in Cannibal Corpse.
Yeah, he's in
It's
Cannibal
fucking
Corpse
dope,
now.
man.
that's what I'm saying. The stuff that guy can play,
Yeah.
I'm amazed, dude.
Yeah, dude. Rutan's the
Yeah,
shit.
like I said, there's levels to this shit. People cut different cloths. Those guys are fucking different cloths, man. That's why I said it doesn't surprise me that they're still fucking badass today.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, even let's go to with the bass, Alex Webster. I mean, the fact that guy and Steve DiGiorgio and whatnot can play. Can you imagine playing that at fucking 50 or 60?
I can.
Yeah. Yeah, why not? I mean, yeah,
Sure.
dude. Bass is... When you're a musician, you're a fucking musician.
It
dude.
just amazes me that that extreme music has become like almost classic rock in terms of
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
That is the trip. That is
Yeah.
the trip. Everybody's fucking going to be rocking out all sick.
And I never think of it because we're older now, but in the bands we look up to from the 80s, they're way older, but I don't notice it, especially the music, how they're putting it out and performing it. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty normal. I mean,
Well, I still think my clock it starts at 2000, so the 80s was 20 years ago, but it's not.
Yeah. Yeah, but I have seen bands, older bands, stadium arena bands that I'm just like, just stop already, man. Just
Yeah.
please
Well,
stop.
a lot of the hair metal bands are like that too. They just need to stop.
Docking. Fuck again. Docking.
Yeah, I'm like, they don't even want to be on
Motley
stage,
Crue as
you know?
well.
Yeah. Hell
Motley
yeah.
Crue.
Motley Crue needs to hang it up.
A lot of
Time
bands
ago.
do, man, but
Yeah.
they, you know,
Come on.
Scorpions.
Sometimes they get nostalgic,
I'm
dude.
just like, I love that band. The Scorpions, dude. I'm like, but I can't see them live anymore. I'm like,
They just put out a new record, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I hear it's really good too, man.
Really?
Yeah, I
I
hear it
haven't-
is.
I haven't checked it
Starts
out yet.
playing.
Check it out.
Right here. We're gonna spin it right now.
I'm wondering though, because it takes more effort to play extreme music than it does classic rock in terms of just like overall. I mean, you're like shredding literally the whole time,
True.
playing double bass the whole. I can't see you doing it at 80 years old.
the drumming. Yeah, I'm like,
Could you imagine
yeah,
drumming like that at 80?
No.
Yeah, that'd be
My arms would
crazy.
fall off. Your arms would probably fall off and
Probably.
whatnot.
Probably. I mean, that's not the plan. Like to get that age and not be able to drum. like that'll be dope to be able to drum that at that age, you know? Like, just take care of yourself, dude.
Yeah.
But
Even then, I've seen some older dudes that are on tour, fucking smoking like a chimney, and they have better cardio than me when I was 25. I'm just like, how, dude? And it's just that's their life. That's your body adapts to whatever the hell you're doing, I guess. Sometimes. And look at Lemmy, he just fucking.
At
You know what I'm
70,
saying?
dude.
70, still fucking doing that shit. So
Amazing.
it depends on the people, man. It just depends.
Amazing. So, lastly, guys, I want to thank you for hanging and doing this with me, man. Appreciate
course,
appreciate
dude.
you guys.
This
and
is fun, man.
We got to do it again sometime soon. Obviously, when your next batch of either singles or an album or whatever, we'll get you
Yeah,
back
of
on
course.
and do it up like we have done today. But where can people find and support the new singles from you guys? And I didn't even know it was on CD until today. So go ahead and give
Yeah.
me all that shit.
So you can buy it at our Bandcamp, Fueled by Fire /Bandcamp, I think it is. Also at I'm gonna have to fucking pull all this shit up. Where's
I think M Theory Audio has them.
I think it's smart URL. Hold on. I'll pull it up right now.
Anyway, well, I'll put in the links or whatever, obviously, after in this.
Fuelbyfire.bandcamp.com.
I'll put the link right down right here.
Right.
For
Something
sure.
there.
That's one.
No, yeah, and hit us up on social media. We're on social media, so if you can't find any of the links that we're talking about right
Probably
now,
be in our
just go in
bio.
there.
mtheory.com too. You can get it there.
Well, again, so most of those plays, people just like to support. I've been noticing a lot more people like to support through labels and whatnot, which is a cool thing to
That's cool.
to know, you know. So definitely go check it out on M Theory Audio and, of course, fueledbyfire.bandcamp.com. But, gentlemen,
Yep.
thank you so much again for giving me a few minutes of your time here to do this with me. And
Thanks,
and
man.
let's fucking do it again
Thanks.
soon.
Had fun, dude.
Coming
Hell yeah.
down.
Thanks
So-
for coming down.
Let's do it.
Another episode of Poppitt's Corner, guys. We're out of here. Cheers.
Deuces.